So, you might be wondering how I got here. Me too. The Vice President of the United States called me a dipshit, which, first of all, is a word I love. And second, not the first time it's been used to describe me. This all went down shortly after the horrific shooting at an ICE facility in Dallas. Before law enforcement had even identified a suspect or had the chance to collect any evidence, Kristi Noem and JD Vance told the world that the shooting was part of a larger, quote, obsessive attack on law enforcement and ICE agents. Let me tell you, it is incredibly irresponsible for any White House, Republican or Democrat, to spread unsupported information about a shooting before an investigation has even begun. It could damage the investigation, confuse the public, and politicize a tragedy in a way that's at best unhelpful and at worst dangerous. Sure enough, Vance's tweet got a suggested community note that pointed out the victims of the shooting were immigrants who'd been detained, not ICE agents, which is when I tweeted that sadly, the vice president is not a reliable source of information because he's done this multiple times, including the last time he went after me on Twitter when he accused me of not reading a court document that supposedly said Kilmar Abrego Garcia is a convicted MS-13 gang member. He is not. The court document never said that, and Vance's tweet at me later became evidence in a trial the government lost. So he's crushing it. Even though the investigation isn't finished, all the evidence suggests that the killer did intend to target ICE officers, which is fucking awful. Violence is awful. Political violence is even worse. We should reject it and condemn it loudly and clearly, regardless of the perpetrator's motive or political leanings or deranged justifications. And by the way, research shows that the more people condemn political violence, especially elected leaders of both parties, the more it does to reduce support for political violence among people from across the political spectrum. The vice president, right after tweeting at me, chose to respond this way.
If your political rhetoric encourages violence against our law enforcement, you can go straight to hell and you have no place in the political conversation.
I'll say this, telling people to go to hell who criticize the government for sending masked federal agents to round up people based on the suspicion that they don't have the right papers isn't exactly the best way to prove you're not authoritarian. American citizens are being detained for days and even weeks. People who came here legally are being deported. The federal government sent young men to be tortured in a foreign prison after falsely smearing them as terrorists and gang members. They're throwing people into unmarked vans, tearing them away from their families, locking them up in horrific conditions without access to enough food or medicine. This is America. Speaking out about this is not inciting violence. Reporting the truth about this is not inciting violence. Peacefully protesting our government is not inciting violence. Calling Donald Trump and Stephen Miller and JD Vance names is not inciting violence. It is our right, which is why the vice president can call me a dipshit anytime he wants. Political violence is a cancer, but it can't be an excuse for the people with all the power to crush their opposition and silence dissent, especially not this pud.